you have to what? You have to know his laws. And to know his laws, you have known his what? You have known his character. And we see that the laws of God, they are just and what? And pure. That shows that the characters of God is what? Just and pure. And also his character shows his what? Shows his love. So we got before the book of Genesis 2:16, which it talks about the law of God, which was in Garden of Eden. So we see that in Garden of Eden, we see God and we see Adam, then we see creations. But what we were to see before first was that we need to see the law that God has given to Adam. And we see that in Genesis 2, from 16 to 17, we see that first what God do is that He gives His justice, which is the what? The commandment. He command man not to eat of the what? Not to eat of the tree of life, of knowing good and evil. And later He said that it's not good for a man to do what? To be alone. So we see that His justice is there, which is His commandment. Then we see His love. Then what did He say to man? If man eat of the tree, He said man should what?
Surely down.
Surely die. Then there before we see that the reason why God created man, there was a discussion that we took over. The reason why God created man was that the love that God shows or angels shows was not enough. Though He stay with angels and He stay with God, He cannot be happy. And I ask a question. Why was Adam not happy? Yet he was with God and angels. So we get some discussion into, and we get later that the reason why it was said is that all these are not of his what? Of his nature. So he needs someone of his nature to make him what? To make him happy. And that happiness is to show love to that nature, which is of him. Then we go into discussion by saying, okay, then what is the reason of creating Eve a woman? So we go back and see why Eve was created a woman. So we see that Eve was what? Was plucked out of man's rib. And if she was plucked out of man's rib, then she has to be what? She has to be part of man. Then we call it before Adam 1 and Adam 2. That is how Ellen White called it. So the first Adam,
The second son.
so, and we have what? Second. So these two, they are what? One. So if a woman and husband join, they are what? One flesh. I hope this summary is okay. So there we see that in this time period when God gives his commandment, we see later the fall of man. And in fall of man, we see there are two things that are first violated. We see that the first thing, if you go to book of first spiritual gift, volume 1, 20, paragraph 1, we see that the spiritual gift, volume 1, will tell us that the angels told those of Adam how Satan rebelled in heaven and how he fell, and they were told not to part from one another. They need to be what? They need to be together so that they overcome that power of Satan's temptation. So that was the paragraph that we were passing through. So it says, I saw that the holy angels often visit the Garden of Eden. So the angels of God always come and visit those of Adam and Eve, and gave instruction to Adam and Eve concerning their employment. So they were told on how to work in Garden of Eden, on how God wanted them to do things in Garden of Eden, and also taught them concerning the rebellion of Satan and his fall. So they have the knowledge, they have that full knowledge about the fall and what? And the rebellion of Satan in heaven. And then we get that other place says, the angels warned them of Satan, so they were also given what? Warning. And constrained them not to separate from each other. So this was where you get us together. So my question was, what was the first command that God has given and was violated? I said, if left, that is already breaking God's command.
Fall apart.
God said you need to be what? To be together. And the reason of them being together is for them not to be tempted. So if there are two, they could be stand, but one cannot be stand alone. So we see that Eve left. And this leaving of Eve, this parting of Eve shows that God is what? God is far from her. They are no longer with God. So as she left her husband, she's no longer with God. And even now in last days, this one signifies many things. We see women leaving their husbands, that's one. We see church leaving the doctrines that God gave and follow different doctrines. So that was where we were. I think my time is almost. So what I was saying is this. This was the first thing. This was the first thing violated by who? By Eve. And if Eve has violated, she's also going to do other things. Okay? So we see that second, she's going to do another different thing later. When she leaves later, what is going to happen to her? We see that Satan commends his work with Eve and to cause her to disobey. She first erred in wandering from her husband next. So what is the first error? She wandered from her husband next. She parted from the husband. Then in lingering around the forbidden tree, and next listening to the voice of the tempter. So what was she doing? When she left the husband, she was lingering around the what? Around the forbidden tree, which was not allowed for them to eat of. And even she was listening to the voice of who? To the voice of Satan. Then we see that, and even bearing doubt of what God has said. So we see that she listened to the voice of Satan. She listened to Satan, that is one. Then what comes later? She doubted God. Then she doubted God had said in the day that those eateth, those shall surely die. So she recalls what has been said in book of Genesis 2. She recalls it in her mind and she gave a doubt in that place that God has said. She thought perhaps it does not mean just as God said. So what did she say? God is a what? God is a liar. You see, that one will not be as the way God have what? God have said. So she doubted God and she said God is what? God lied. She thought perhaps it does not mean as the Lord said. She wished to disobey. She put forth her hand and took of the fruit and ate. It was pleasing to the eyes, pleasant to the taste. She was jealous that God had withheld from them what was really for their good. So what did she think of? So what we want to understand here is that Eve has many reasons of eating the tree. She said God has hidden from them. God is what? God is selfish. I don't know. You may complete it. So, she doubted God. She was listening to the voice of Satan. That voice of Satan makes her to reflect that what God has said, God was lying to them. And the intent of God is there for them not to what? Not to enjoy the fruit that was given them. Then God is selfish. God made it to be His. That she was jealous that God has withheld from them what was really for their good. So, what is the goodness of that tree for those of Adam and Eve? I have a question. I'm questioning, guys. I have a question. What is the goodness of the tree to Adam and Eve? Because she thinks that God has refused for them something that is of their what? Of their good.
To make them wise.
The wisdom of understanding.
According to certain theologies, to make them wise.
So Satan told her, you will be wise.
Like
And
God.
even your eyes will be open, you will be like God. What does it tell us? He tells us how Satan prevailed in heaven. Satan said, I will make my throne above the Most High. So he will be like who? Like God. He will be wise like God. His eyes will be open like God. So he will be equal with God. That is the same thing that he wants Eve to be what? Eve to be equal with whom? With God. But what made them not to be equal? This is image. And this is real. So, what is the difference between real and image? Real has, okay, the same character that the real have is the same character that the image have. The same appearance that the real have is the same appearance that the image have. But what is the difference?
It's coffee.
It's
Power that the real has, the image cannot have. Also it is the physical appearance that appears. Like now when you see yourself in a mirror, so you don't see your inner or your heart.
You see the
So it is the physical
outer
appearance. It is outer.
So and you cannot study the image, but you can study the real one and know exactly the character of the image from the real one.
So, there we see that Eve was having that jealous heart that they need to be one equal, as Satan has stated to her. She offered the fruit to her. Okay. Yeah. She offered the fruit to her husband, thereby tempting him. She related to Adam all that the Satan has said and expressed her astonishment that he had the power of speech. So what happened? She even wondered that.
He had power of speech.
So he wondered. And even we see that what happened was that she was tempting who? Adam. So the temptation of a woman has what? Has gone beyond. So woman is tempted, she fell, and when she fell, Satan has that knowledge that with that love, she can still let the husband fail. So we see woman tempting who? Adam. Then when Adam realized that the way that woman is speaking, and even the way she expressed her words. That Ellen White said that she saw what? Sadness over the face of Adam. Adam was very sad. Then he appeared afraid, and Anthony saw he was really not in that real mood. A struggle appeared to be going on in his mind. So what is going on in his mind? That one is taking us back to nature mind. So this is the mind, isn't it? So this is the conscience. Let me see. What is going on inside there?
Struggle.
The struggle is going with the what? The members of the body. And what is really there is what? Love. So love is warring against the what? The conscience. What does the conscience there say? It's wrong to violate the rule of God. God has said, don't eat of it. But what happened? She ate of it. But what does love say? Love said, how can my
Fighting one.
be separated from me? That is also another argument that he has. Okay? He said we are going to be separated. She's going to die. Eh? So really, that is what he was saying. So a struggle appeared to be going on in his mind. He felt sure that this was the foe which had been won against. So he really knows that that is the really thing that they were won against. So they were won not to eat of the tree. And his wife must die. So that is the response from somewhere. His wife must die. They must be separated. This is funny. They must be separated. His love for Eve was strong. So what did love do? Love overcomes the conscience of the
God.
man. So love becomes the will of the what? Of the man. The action. So, and in after this discouragement, he resolved to share her faith. He seized the fruit and quickly ate it. So what happened to him? He never ate it in a normal way, not with happiness. But he ate it for the sake of that woman, for the sake of love he has for that woman. He has to seize that fruit and eat it. So then Satan exalted, and he has rebelled in heaven. He has sympathizers who love him. So what again add to Satan's side? He has known that really he has those who understood that is right. Okay? So you see that. You see that he has what? He has lovers. So you have seen that he has lovers, he has those who loves him. And his rebellion has gone what? Has gone more. Okay? His expectation has gone more. So he is to rebel more and more because he has overcome the one who is on earth. And he has known that he is loved by who? He is loved by Eve, and Eve has let the husband fail. So he has won the world. And followed him in his rebellion. So he has known that these people will follow him in his what? In his rebellion. He fell and accused others to fail with him. So what happened to him? Satan fell in heaven, then he accused others to fail with him. And he had now tempted the woman to distrust God, to inquire unto his wisdom, to seek to penetrate his all-wise plan. Satan knew the woman would not fail alone. Adam, through his love for Eve, disobeyed the commandment of God and fell with her. So what do we see? We see that Satan is very what? He's very wise. He has known before even he tempted the woman. He realized that if he has taken the mind of this woman, then the husband will fail. And Adam has really violated the commandment of God because of his what? Because of his love. So we see that the two work together. So we see that all these are for the woman. This was done by Eve. But for Adam, he was innocent, he was tempted. But what made him fail is that his love was what?
Strong.
His love was strong. So if we go to nature of man, we see that there was a good instruction that brother brought for us last hour. So we see the culture. So we see love. I think that's what we need to understood. So we see that the concern is here saying the laws of God need not to be violated. He has understood that really the woman has did something wrong. But what did love say? The woman is going to die. So why are you going to get another woman? That is one. Two, they are going to be separated. He's going to be lonely like the way he was. So what he decided is that he should die for the woman. So my time is over, and I hope this is a great lesson to us, all of us. From this, we see that the laws of God always stand. So if we go for a short break, I'll continue with this line. So let's have a word. Most gracious and loving God, the creator of heaven and earth, we thank you, God, for giving us the little knowledge that you have given us these days. And we understood that, Lord, the knowledge of last days is more. And we pray that may you give us the wisdom of understanding. May you teach us, God, to know how really man fell and how are we going to redeem Father.